and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. We're beginning with what's happening on Twitter. Since Elon Musk took control of the company, there have been plenty of changes. He's fired thousands of staff and declared his intention to bring about a free speech renaissance. The billionaire says that the renaissance won't bring about more hate speech, but a nonprofit group called the Center for Countering Digital Hate disagrees. In the weeks after Musk took charge, it reports the use of slurs have skyrocketed. And with fewer employees left to moderate content, many of the posts are staying up. Name-calling against Hispanics rose 67%. Speech targeting South Asians went up 62%. Anti-Semitic language increased by 23%. Homophobic content jumped by 53%. And alarmingly, the use of the N-word skyrocketed by 300%. All of these figures are compared to a 2022 average. And Daesh is also trying to get back onto Twitter. Experts say it's using hacked accounts. This has led to a 69% increase in the number of accounts promoting the terror group. Mustafa Aya, the executive director at the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, said the increase is self-inflicted, adding, following a series of missteps by the Twitter leadership, the platform may seem as if it's becoming just another example of an exploited, ungoverned space. But there's reportedly a plan in the works to try to rid the site of hate speech. The company's new trust and safety chief, Ella Irwin, says that automation will start to play a bigger role in moderating discourse. Reducing the reach of content showing child abuse will still be in the hands of humans responsible for flagging it. And there's disappointing financial news for Twitter too. The World Cup was supposed to be a windfall for the company, but advertisers are still skittish, partly because of Musk's decision to reinstate suspended accounts. Revenue is down by about 80% compared to 4 years ago. Musk has warned the company could fall into bankruptcy if it doesn't reverse trends. After months of violent protests and many lives sacrificed, there are suggestions that Iran's morality police will be disbanded. That's the force who was allegedly responsible for the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in September. Amini was taken into custody for breaking rules on headscarves. Iran's attorney general said the unit has been suspended, saying that the morality police had nothing to do with the judiciary and have been shut down from where they were set up. Hundreds of thousands have been protesting across Iran, and many have died as the regime tried to silence them. Many images of the protests have circulated on social media, as well as the violence and brutality of the authorities. And this video caught our attention for its heart-rending image of a father's pain. Here he is dancing at his daughter's funeral because he promised her to live long enough to dance at her wedding. The user who shared this video on Twitter wrote, "She was killed by the Iranian morality police for not covering her hair." While Iranians have continued protesting for their cause, the international community has taken to Twitter to express their support. But users had mixed feelings about the latest news on the dismantling of the morality police. For example, Sheldon here thinks there are improvements and questions whether what is happening in Iran right now could lead to other successes. And Ayush also seems to agree with Sheldon. She says if people speak as one, they win. Sounds fair, doesn't it? But there are other users who think that the abolishment is just fake news to distract foreign media. Arash here thinks the same. She tweeted, "This is a lie to deceive the protesters and divide them further." To Nigeria now, where Aminu Adamu Muhammad, an undergraduate student, has apologized to the First Lady to get out of prison. What happened was Muhammad shared a tweet suggesting that Aisha Buhari had misused public money. He was subsequently arrested and detained for more than 2 weeks. After he posted a series of tweets and videos of video messages apologizing for his actions, the charges were dropped on compassionate grounds. Muhammad was released on Friday. Not everyone was okay with him apologizing to the First Lady, though. Some thought she should have apologized to him, especially as he was mistreated and allegedly tortured during his time behind bars.
In Nigeria, a young man named Amini Mohammed has been jailed over allegations of spreading wrong information, if you like, cyber stalking or defamation. Now, according to officials, this has dated back to June when the young man, in populous Nigerian language, Hausa, says Sumama Anchukutin Talaka Ankoshi, which is roughly translated into English as the First Lady has embezzled poor people's money to her satisfaction. Now, this is a very strong criticism against the First Lady, which officials says, according to Section 391 of the Penal Code, is against the law, and he is going to face the wrath of the law. Last year, the president or the government has banned Twitter for over 200 days. Why? Because Twitter deleted the president's tweets. Social networking in Nigeria, which is the populous African nation, or if you like, the largest democracy on the continent, we've known for a while that elites or politicians are trying to regulate the way how people network or do spread information online. And this is one of the issue that is generating a lot of debates, that is Nigeria facing one of its worst in history of its freedom of speech.
All right, on to what's trending. And apparently it's this phrase, goblin mode. So Oxford Dictionary has unveiled that as its word of the year. And for the first time in history, the dictionary put it to a vote online, and the people have spoken and gone full goblin mode. It's a slang term referring to a type of behavior which is unapologetically self-indulgent, lazy, slovenly, or greedy, typically in a way that rejects social norms or expectations. After a 2-week voting period, goblin mode won by a landslide, getting 93% of the more than 340,000 votes cast. There was a massive online campaign for the phrase that initially surged to prominence thanks to a satirical viral tweet. Goblin mode beat out 2 other phrases handpicked by Oxford Dictionary.
The 3 choices are metaverse, hashtag I stand with, and goblin mode. I know which one I'm voting for. Incidentally, you can vote via Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on their website. Last year's word was vax. 2015's word was an emoji. And a handful of these, I don't even remember or know what they mean.
Hi, I'm a completely normal, not autistic person. Can you go on Oxford Dictionary and vote for the word of the year for 2022? Obviously, I chose goblin mode because get 'em, boys.
Yep, get 'em, boy. And while Oxford's word of 2022 is goblin mode, American dictionary publisher Merriam-Webster has announced that it is gaslighting. If you're not familiar with the word, or thankfully have never been gaslighted before, here's what it means.
The act or practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for one's own advantage. Gaslighting has this implication of an intentional deception. And once one is aware of that deception, it's not just a straightforward lie, as in, I didn't eat the cookies in the cookie jar. It's something that has a little bit more devious quality to it. It has possibly an idea of strategy or a long-term plan. And that has brought this word, I think, into real prominence, and especially in the past year.
Searches for the word gaslighting on Merriam-Webster's online dictionary spiked by more than 1,700% in 2022. And curiously, interest in the word wasn't driven by any single event.
It actually came as a surprise to me and to many of us to see that it was not just a word associated with a single news event, but that it was a word looked up frequently every single day of the year. And that volume pushed this word up to the top. With gaslighting, there is a little bit of a story behind it. And if you don't know that story, it's kind of an interesting one. It comes from what was originally a play turned into a film, a famous movie from the 1940s. In fact, Ingrid Bergman was the star of this movie. Another interesting coincidence is that one of the actors in that film in 1944 was in fact Angela Lansbury, who just died recently. And so that's one of the small reasons this word was looked up for sure, because a lot of people were talking about her early roles, and I believe that was her first film. We kind of live in an age of information, but it's also an age of misinformation. And we are adapting slowly as a culture to identifying that sort of misinformation. And this is, I think, a new tool in our vocabulary quiver.
All right, luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton and Gucci are estimated to lose billions of dollars every year due to counterfeit copies you can easily pick up on the black market. But have you ever stopped to consider how much that $1,000 designer bag actually costs to make? TikToker Tanner Leatherstein has, and he's become quite the social media sensation, cutting up luxury items and examining their true value. Now let's take a look at how he analyzes a Chanel purse and how much he thinks it could have cost.
Now wallet, is it worth it? It's a very well constructed piece with turned edges and everything. For the labor craftsmanship, I give them a generous estimate of $50. For other accessories, probably another $10. But here is where I have a problem with the leather. They lost me here with the very heavy finish on the leather. They say calfskin. So there's a very heavy finish with an embossed pattern that looks like basketball leather on this. So calfskin, we choose calfskin because of its natural, beautiful grain, and you don't need that oversized, over finishes on it to embrace that beauty. But for standardization purposes, they overdid it, and it feels like plastic. I don't feel the leather, I don't feel the calfskin. To be honest, you could use any kind of leather for this kind of finish because it's going to hide it all. In that sense, we're just going to say it's calfskin, $10 a foot, less than 3 square foot of leather needed, $30 for leather, totaling up to $90. At its $1,200 price tag, you're paying a lot for the status comes with the logo. If you're in it for the leather, there's not much to enjoy here because of the heavy finish.
Well, that's disappointing. And that brings us to the end of today's newsfeed. Find this show on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. Bye and see you same time tomorrow.